Sentences, clauses, and phrases. Part 5. In this module, we will learn about clauses in detail. By definition, a clause is a group of words containing a subject and a predicate. So, a clause is a group of words containing about a person or a thing or an idea that is being talked about, and description of quality of person or thing or idea that is being talked about. There are two types of clauses. 1. Independent clause. 2. Dependent clause. In this module, we will learn about independent clause in detail. By definition, independent clauses are the ones that can stand on their own and make their meaning clear. So, clauses that stand on their self and make their meaning clear are called independent clauses. It is a sunny afternoon. This is an independent clause as it stands by itself and makes its meaning clear. The sentence is clearly expressing a single standalone idea that it is a sunny afternoon. It is very important to note that independent clauses are connected with coordinating conjunctions or conjunctions that connect words, phrases, and clauses. It is a sunny afternoon and I am relaxing at home. Here, two independent clauses are joined with the help of the coordinating conjunction and. B. In a sentence containing two or more independent clauses, that is, compound sentence, the clauses retain their importance and serve as the main clauses of the compound sentence. So, if a sentence has two or more than two independent clauses, which is also called compound sentence, the clauses continue to hold importance and serve as the main clauses of the compound sentence. In the previous example, two ideas are the sunny afternoon and somebody relaxing at home. Both these ideas are given equal importance because of the use of the coordinating conjunction and. Both the clauses that present these ideas are the main clauses of the sentence. In this module, we will learn about dependent clause. By definition, clauses that cannot stand on their own and make their meaning clear are called dependent clauses. So, clauses that do not stand by itself and make their meaning clear are called dependent clauses. We could see the shadows of the object because it was kept under the sun. Here, clause "we could see the shadows of the object" is dependent on because it was kept under the sun. Hence, a dependent clause makes its meaning clear in relation to an independent clause. So, the meaning of a dependent clause becomes clearer as a result of the independent clause. The room was open when the police came. Here, the meaning of the dependent clause "when the police came" has become clearer as a result of the independent clause "the room was open." B. A dependent clause begins with a subordinating conjunction or a relative pronoun. So, dependent clause begins with a subordinating conjunction or conjunction that joins a subordinate clause to a main clause, or a relative pronoun or pronoun that marks a relative clause within a larger sentence, example, whom. C. Sentence that has dependent and independent clause, idea shown by the dependent clause assumes less importance to the idea shown by the independent clause. Tina was walking down the street when she met her friend. This sentence can be broken down into two clauses as follows. Tina was walking down the street, independent clause, because the meaning of this clause is clear on its own. When she met her friend, dependent clause, as the presence of when makes this clause dependent, and this clause does not make sense on its own. The idea of Tina was walking down the street has more importance in the sentence than the dependent clause when she met her friend. Also, it is very important to note that a dependent and an independent clause is joined by subordinating conjunctions. In the above example, the subordinating conjunction is when. Sentences, clauses, and phrases, Part 6. In this module, we will learn about functions of dependent clause in detail. 1. Dependent clause tends to act as a noun, or the part of speech or word class that is used to name or identify a person, place, thing, quality, or action. I know that you are feeling hot. This sentence can be broken into two clauses as follows. I know, main clause, that you are feeling hot, dependent clause. Here, the dependent clause acts as the complement of the verb know. You can ask the question, I know what, and get the answer that you are feeling hot. Hence, in this sentence, the dependent clause acts as a noun. 2. Dependent clause tends to act as an adverb, or the part of speech that modifies a verb, adjective, or other adverb. He reads books because he wants to improve his GK. This sentence can be broken into two clauses as follows. He reads books, main clause, because he wants to improve his GK, dependent clause. Here, the dependent clause describes the verb reads. You can ask the question, why does he read books? And get the answer, to improve his GK. Hence, in this sentence, the dependent clause acts as an adverb. 3. A dependent clause tends to act as an adjective. As an adjective, dependent clause is divided into two types. A. Restrictive clause. B. Non-restrictive clause. Restrictive clause. By definition, a clause that provides limited or restricted information about the noun that it describes is called restrictive clause. So the clause that gives limited or restricted information about the noun it explains is called restrictive clause. She who sings well will get the award. This sentence is divided into two clauses. She will get the award, main clause. Who sings well, dependent clause, that is restrictive. Here, the dependent clause describes the pronoun she, and it acts as an adjective. Who will get the award? The one who sings well. From the sentence, it is clear that the dependent clause is essential for identifying the pronoun. It is important to know which she will get the award It will be the she who sings well. B. Non-restrictive clause. By definition, clause that provides unrestricted or unlimited additional information about the noun that it describes is called non-restrictive clause. So the clause that gives unlimited or unrestricted additional information about the noun it explains is called non-restrictive clause. Anjana, who is considered a good artist by her friends, was given the Best Artist award. This sentence is divided into two clauses. Anjana was given the Best Artist award, main clause. Who is considered a good artist by her friends, dependent clause, that is non-restrictive. Here, the dependent clause describes the noun Anjana. It acts as an adjective, but it is not essential for identifying the noun. The sentence would mean the same even in its absence. Hence, it is non-restrictive. Types of clauses. Part 1. A dependent clause may function as a noun, an adjective, or an adverb in a sentence. On the basis of their function in a sentence, subordinate clauses can be divided into the following types: the noun clause, the adjective or relative clause, the adverb clause. Noun clause. A dependent clause that functions as a noun in a sentence is called a noun clause. A noun clause performs the same function like a noun in a sentence. For example, what he did created a problem for his family. In the above sentence, the clause what he did functions as a noun, hence it is a noun clause. A noun clause works as a noun that acts as a subject, object, or predicate in a sentence. A noun clause starts with words that, what, whatever, who, whom, whoever, whomever. Let us see some sentences. What you said made me laugh. Here, noun clause is acting as a subject. He knows that he will pass the test. Here, noun clause is acting as an object. Now I realize what he would have thought. Here, noun clause is acting as an object. Types of clauses. Part 2. Adjective clause. A dependent clause that functions as an adjective in a sentence is called adjective clause. An adjective clause works like adjective in a sentence. The function of an adjective is to modify or describe a noun or a pronoun. Similarly, a noun clause modifies a noun or a pronoun. For example, he wears a shirt which looks nice. The clause which looks nice in the above sentence is an adjective clause because it modifies the noun shirt in the sentence. It is important to note that an adjective clause always precedes the noun it modifies. For example, I met the boy who helped me. An apple that smells bad is rotten. The book which I like is helpful in preparation for test. Restrictive and non-restrictive clauses. Adjective or relative clauses can be restrictive clauses or non-restrictive clauses. A restrictive clause limits the meaning of preceding noun or pronoun. A non-restrictive clause tells us something about preceding noun or pronoun, but does not limit the meaning of preceding noun or pronoun. Let us take an example. The student in the class who studied a lot passed the test. The student in the class who had attended all the lectures passed the test. In the first sentence, the clause who studied a lot restricts the information to preceding noun or student. It means that there is only one student in the class who studied a lot, hence it is a restrictive clause. In the second sentence, the clause who had attended all the lectures gives us information about preceding noun but does not limit this information to the preceding noun. It means there can be several other students in the class who had attended all the lectures, hence it is a non-restrictive clause. A comma is always used before a restrictive clause in a sentence and also after non-restrictive clause if it is within a main clause. That is usually used to introduce a restrictive clause, while which is used to introduce a non-restrictive clause. For example, the table that costs $100 is made of steel. This sentence contains a restrictive clause. The table which costs $100 is made of steel. This is an example of a non-restrictive clause. Types of clauses. Part 3. Adverb clause. A dependent clause that functions as an adverb in a sentence is called adverb clause. An adverb clause, like an adverb, modifies a verb, adjective clause, or other adverb clause in a sentence. It modifies or describes the situation in main clause in terms of time, frequency, how often, cause and effect, contrast, condition, intensity, to what extent. The subordinating conjunctions used for adverb clauses are as follows. Subordinating conjunctions showing time: when, whenever, since, until, before, after, while, as, by the time, as soon as. For example, don't go before he comes. Here, adverbial clause before he comes has subordinating conjunction showing time. Subordinating conjunctions showing cause and effect: because, since, now that, as long as, so that. For example, he takes medicine because he is ill. Here, adverbial clause because he is ill has subordinating conjunction showing cause and effect. Subordinating conjunctions showing contrast: although, even, whereas, while, though. For example, although he tried a lot, he couldn't climb up the tree. Adverbial clause, although he tried a lot, has subordinating conjunction showing contrast. Subordinating conjunctions showing condition: if, unless, only if, whether or not, even if, providing or provided that, in case. For example, unless you study for the test, you can't pass it. Adverbial clause, unless you study for the test, has subordinating conjunction showing condition.